There is a statistic that every young footballer needs to hear, but very few want to accept. 98% of high school footballers will never sign a professional contract. And here is the interesting part. For most of them, the problem isn't their speed. It isn't their strength. It isn't even their touch on the ball. The problem is what they do with the other 22 hours of the day. You want to dominate on the pitch, but right now, you might feel like you are drowning in homework. You are barely sleeping. You are stressed, and that stress is actually making you a slower, weaker player. You probably think the solution is that you need more time, but you don't. In this video, we aren't just giving you generic advice. We are breaking down the exact scheduling mechanics used by elite academy players to dominate the classroom so they can dominate the game. Welcome to the lab. Let's get to work. Before we can fix your schedule, we have to look at the math. This is the foundation of everything. We call this the 168-hour audit. Every single person, from Lionel Messi to the student struggling to pass math class, has exactly the same amount of time in a week, 168 hours. Let's subtract the non-negotiables. First, sleep. If you are an athlete, you need 8 hours a night, minimum. That is 56 hours gone. Next, school. If you are in school for roughly 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, that is another 35 hours gone. Then, football. Between training, matches, and travel, let's say that takes about 15 hours a week. Do the math with me. 56 plus 35 plus 15. That equals 106 hours of mandatory commitment. This leaves you with 62 hours of free time every single week. That is nearly 9 hours a day of unallocated time. So, why do you feel so busy? Why does it feel like there is no time to study or recover? The answer is something we call time leakage. Time leakage happens in the margins. It's the 20 minutes you spend scrolling through TikTok in bed before you get up. It's the 40 minutes you spend staring at your phone after practice before you actually get in the shower. If you waste just 2 hours a day on social media or aimless distraction, that is 14 hours a week gone. That is 2 full nights of sleep wasted. The first step to playing like a pro is realizing that you actually do have time. You are just leaking it. Now that we have found the time, how do we use it? Most student athletes treat school like they are parking the bus. They play defense. They wait until an assignment is due, and then they panic and try to clear the ball at the last second. This is a losing strategy. In the lab, we teach classroom offense. You need to attack your assignments with the same aggression you use to press a backline. Here is the rule. You never work to the deadline. You work to your schedule. If a paper is due on Friday, a defensive player waits until Thursday night to write it. But an offensive player finishes it on Tuesday. Why? Because you are an athlete. You don't know what Thursday looks like. Maybe training runs late. Maybe you pick up a knock and need extra time with the physio. Maybe you are just exhausted. If you leave that paper until Thursday, you create stress. Stress releases cortisol in your body. Scientifically, high cortisol levels inhibit muscle recovery and disturb your sleep. Think about that. Procrastinating on your homework literally makes your legs recover slower. By playing offense with your schoolwork, you aren't just getting better grades. You are protecting your physical recovery for the match. The next concept is mental. We call it the switch. One of the biggest mistakes young players make is trying to be 2 things at once. They sit in math class, but they are daydreaming about the match on Saturday. Then, they get to football training, but they are worried about the math test they have tomorrow. When you walk into the locker room, you need to mentally flip a switch. The student no longer exists. The homework doesn't exist. For the next 2 hours, there is only football. But the reverse must also be true. When you sit down at your desk to study, the footballer doesn't exist. Put the phone away. Turn off the notifications. If you study with 100% focus for 45 minutes, you will get more done than if you study with 50% focus for 3 hours while checking Instagram. Elite performance requires presence. Be where your feet are. When you are studying, study. When you are training, train. Don't mix them. Let's look at your schedule again. Remember those 62 hours of free time? A lot of that time is hidden in small chunks. We call this dead time. This is the time you spend on the bus to school. The time you spend waiting for your parents to pick you up. The 20 minutes before practice starts when you're just sitting in the locker room. Most players waste this time. They stare at the wall or scroll through feeds. But an elite student athlete sees these moments as bonus XP. Think about it this way. If you use your 30-minute bus ride to review your notes, that is 30 minutes you don't have to spend studying when you get home at night. By using the dead time, you buy yourself freedom in the evening. You get to go home, eat, and relax, because you already did the work in the margins of the day. Now we arrive at the most critical part of the video. If you ignore everything else, please listen to this. Sleep is not a luxury. Sleep is a performance-enhancing drug that is completely legal and free. Studies on adolescent athletes consistently show that getting less than 8 hours of sleep creates a massive spike in injury risk. Why? Because deep sleep is when your body releases growth hormones to repair the micro tears in your muscles. But it's not just physical. Sleep is also when your brain processes what you learned that day, both in the classroom and on the pitch. If you learn a new tactical movement in training, your brain actually saves that information while you sleep. Treat your pillow like a piece of training equipment. It is just as important as your boots. We have talked about organization, focus, and sleep, but now we have to talk about the cost. There is a saying in elite sports: you can have anything you want, but you cannot have everything you want. Usually, you can pick 2 out of 3, a great social life, top-tier grades, or elite football performance. It is very, very difficult to maintain all 3. Your friends might be going out on Friday night, but if you have a match on Saturday morning, you have to be the one to say no. You have to be the one to go home and sleep. They might not understand. They might call you obsessed. That is okay. They aren't trying to sign a contract. You are. At the end of the day, football isn't just a game of feet. It's a game of the mind. If you can't discipline yourself to finish your homework, you probably can't discipline yourself to track back in the 90th minute. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Master your schedule. Attack your schoolwork. Protect your sleep. If you are ready to build the mindset of a pro, make sure you are subscribed to the Empire. And do me a favor, comment the word focus down below if you are going to fix your schedule this week. This is Football Empire Lab. Thank you.